Hey YouTube, I've been working on an old computer and the CD drive wouldn't spin up disks. It would make kind of a weird quacking, honking noise as the disk tried to spin up, and then the drive would fail completely. So I assumed there was something wrong with the bushings in the motor. Maybe it was dried out or full of dust. So I started to take the drive apart, and I noticed it had a weird sound like loose balls rolling around in the drive. I'm not sure whether you can actually hear that noise. But there's a definite sound of something rolling around in there, something very small. So I took the drive apart and found that in between the platter where the actual disc sits on the spindle and the magnetic rotor of the motor, there was an extra component, something I've never seen before in an optical disc drive. It was just a black puck with a metal lid, but through the gap at the center of this device, I could see there were, in fact, a couple balls loosely rolling around inside this device. So this kind of made me think there was something wrong. Maybe there should have been more balls and they've fallen out, or they'd come loose. But the drive, after I lubricated it, it seemed to actually spin perfectly fine. It didn't make any vibrating noises. It didn't seem to be anything wrong with it at all. So I looked in the manual and found Sony had made reference to their automatic balancing system, which is something I'd never heard of before in an optical disc drive. They use the acronym ABS, which made it incredibly hard to search for. But eventually I found some patents that talked about using loose balls in a raceway and sometimes even fluids in order to automatically balance out of balance discs. So in 52 times CD-ROMs, there was actually a non-zero chance that if your disc was out of balance because it was poor quality or just not made to be spun this fast, it could detonate inside your drive, causing you to lose the disc and probably ruin the drive as well. So this automatic balancing system was very important for this kind of high-speed drive. This whole system seemed a little unintuitive to me. In my mind, if you put an out-of-balance disc into a CD player, then the heavy side would end up being thrown farther away from the center of the spindle, and that would cause the balls to follow it, and all the heavy parts would end up on one side. But what actually happens is that the motor is mounted on very soft rubber bushings, and as the whole system spins up, it begins to rotate around the center of mass. So the spindle actually is no longer the center of rotation. It moves away from the center of rotation, and the heavy side of the disc moves towards it. That means that the light side of the disc is moving farther and is actually the low spot. It experiences more centrifugal force. This means the balls roll downhill until they get to that low spot. As more and more balls get onto that low spot, they counteract the heavy side of the disc, and the wobble starts to decrease. Eventually, enough balls have made it there that all of the wobble is counteracted. If the disc is already balanced, or if there are more weight in balls than there is weight in out of balance disc, the balls end up just distributing themselves around the inside of this little puck until there's no wobble at all. It really is an automatic balancing system. Having finally learned how this mystery device worked, I wanted to see it for myself. So I mounted a water bottle into a drill chuck and gave it a spin. As you can see, the empty bottle is maybe a little bit out of balance. It definitely doesn't spin very true, but that's a good starting point. After that, I added quite a bit of weight in the form of a couple bolts taped to the outside of the bottle. And as you can see, as that spins, it is very unstable. It tries to rotate mostly around the bolts, as I believe they weigh even more than the bottle itself. Finally, I added some BBs to the bottle. I tried to add about the same weight in BBs as there were bolts. And you can see that the bottle spins with almost no vibration very quickly. It takes a little bit of time for all those BBs to kind of arrange themselves, but once they're stable, they almost don't move at all. While researching this, I found several commercial products that do a similar thing for vehicle tires. One is a steel hoop that gets bolted behind the rim and is supposed to balance tires as they wear unevenly, specifically on tractor trailers. And another product which was hardened glass beads that you pour directly into your tire. They flop around like the BBs in this bottle, and eventually, as they settle, they balance out any uneven wear in your tires. I hope you found this video interesting, and if you'd like to see more like this, check out my channel. Thanks for watching.